So let's see. How did they classify? See, Bart, we're on a bit of a mission at the moment.
We're talking about a former Atlanta United homegrown talent.
Check.
You're talking about it because his younger brother played yesterday in the friendly against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And I am a big fan of his younger brother because his younger brother has a lot of combative energy when he gets on the field. For a guy playing basically the 8, I thoroughly enjoy watching him go out there. And the Birmingham game earlier this year is the one that sticks out to me because he turned every ball into a 50-50 ball, whether he needed to or not.
I did not watch that friendly yesterday. I'll be the first to admit it. The level of care that I had about that was negative, I think.
Negative care?
Good for them. I'm glad Aberdeen is training in a place where it's just about as cold as it is in Aberdeen right now.
Yeah, so. I can't imagine how pissed. Can we imagine how pissed off they are that they're like, we get to go to Atlanta for a break? How is it? It should be nice there. It's 45 degrees and like raining.
Yeah.
And windy. So it's basically like living on the North Sea. Nothing is different.
Which team was it that went to Tampa Bay? And like I'm sure they had to.
God.
One of the European teams went to Tampa Bay to train at the Rowdies facilities and whatnot.
Oh my God.
At least it's warmer.
What are you gonna do? Go down to Beef O'Brady's?
Yeah, actually. And be ready.
Tampa Bay is like the mecca of like mediocre chain restaurants too. Like holy, like you got Tony Macaroni in Scotland. Like I just imagine. I want to believe
Beef O'Brady's.
I just imagine that it was like Porto or somebody with like from a city in Europe with rich culture and food, and they had to go play in Tampa. Where congratulations. Well, what can we go out to eat? Well, there's a Chili's, there's an Applebee's, there's a TGI Fridays.
Yeah,
like you can go reenact the second act of Talladega Nights.
God. Let's see. So yeah, Bart, this is what you wandered into on the Thursday Power Hour. The coaching change in Charleston, the match yesterday afternoon with Atlanta United and Aberdeen, and anything else that's on the table leading into you. That's what Thursday Power Hour has turned into. Thursday Chaos is where we are.
If I had my choice in life, I would make like the teams that come to it. Like, how in the hell was Aberdeen here? I want to know. Like, did y'all take? Did anybody think to take Aberdeen to Magic City last night?
Oh,
because I promise they don't have a Magic City in Aberdeen.
That has to be on the agenda, right?
Yeah,
you've got to get the lemon.
Norwich City went to Tampa Bay, which kind of maybe makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a step up.
So Norwich went to Tampa. Oh, by the way, the base statistics: Andrew Carlton, 27 matches played, 7 starts, played 885 minutes, had a goal, and there you go. So that's Andrew Carlton.
For a guy trying to rebuild his career, that's not a bad jumping off point for him.
Yes. Hi, Bart.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
Having a grand old time.
What's the mug this morning, by the way?
The mug says "Drink coffee, do good." So go get yourself some Kickoff coffee. You can drink coffee and do good at the same time.
Yeah. See right there. There's your QR code.
Look at that plug. I'm doing your job for you, John.
Exactly. Every half hour,
Speaking of, you can buy Kickoff coffee. You'll be able to buy Kickoff coffee in the bag at our watch party on Friday, November 25th. It'll be available at the American Football Provisions stand. They will be supporting the AO Impact fundraiser. We have an agreement. American Outlaws and Kickoff Coffee have a partnership as well, and they donate it to AO Impact, which goes to a lot of programs around the country, like Soccer in the Streets. So Soccer in the Streets is one of those affiliate programs. But believe it or not, there are Soccer in the Streets like programs all across the country. So AO Impact goes to support all those places around the country.
Okay, so Bart, I've heard that there's a tournament that's going to be starting fairly soon.
Reports seem to indicate that, although I'm not quite sure because it seems like anytime someone tries to report from this location, they get snatched up and told to stop reporting.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but we just had a dude announce a presidential run a couple days ago who loves conspiracies. So here we go. Which federation and team has been the most vocal against Qatar and their human rights records? Denmark.
Okay.
Which broadcast crew was it that got snatched up until they couldn't record anymore? It was a Danish news television.
It was the Danish crew, yeah, and it was their number one.
I have zero problem spreading conspiracies about this particular tournament because they all deserve it.
Yeah, and their reporter is their number one investigative globe-trotting reporter type dude.
Yep. And
so, yeah, and that went well on live TV, by the way, where it's like, Qatari security guys basically threatening on live television to break the camera.
Yeah, I do have to question why you were so willing to give up that position, that ground, to guys in a golf cart. But then again, I have spent a few years of my life on country club golf courses where old men run up in a golf cart, tell us to do something, and we have to do it. So
I'm just picturing getting yelled at by somebody in Peachtree City, to be honest.
That's exactly what it is.
Qatar is just the Peachtree City. That's where we're at. And yeah, Vern, I know you're. I know it's not the same thing, but like you mentioning taking someone to basically a Tampa Mecca made me think, like, where can we send a team that has no idea what they're getting into in Atlanta? Because just wait until the World Cup is here, and we could
send them to Taco Mac.
We could send them to Taco Mac. I'm just trying. There's a non-zero chance in 2026 that it's going to be somebody like Denmark is going to get buckhead flu, and they're not built like James Harden.
No.
Not very few people are.
Right.
They're not going to be able to the Hennessy is not going to power them forward. It's going to inhibit them like it would any other normal human being.
Yes. So Joe Bost comes in, and Bart, I wanted to ask this to you and to Jarrett. Joe Bost says, this would be the first World Cup that I'm going to be watching, and to be honest, I'm not as excited as I thought I would be. In your orbit, are folks sitting there, and are they excited about it? Do you have the casual fan sitting there going, oh, there's a World Cup, or the in-between fan who's sitting there going, okay, wow, we just ended one season. My Premier League team just wrapped up. My league team just wrapped up, until winter break back on Sunday. Oh, crap. There's a World Cup here. So let me start with you, Bart. Are folks as excited about this World Cup as you have seen in the past, or is this like a slam job trying to sit there and go, oh, crap, there's a World Cup here?
Yeah, I definitely think that over the past week, it's been a little bit more. There's been more excitement because we have been able to focus on the fact that the World Cup is coming up. I'm going to take Fox Sports, or Fox, I guess, broadcasting, to a little bit of a task here of they've been advertising a lot for the United States games, but there are a ton of other games during this World Cup that are going to be I'm sorry, that USA Wales game is not likely to be a thrilling match.
It's two top 20s, Bart.
Yeah, but the way Wales plays, I don't think we're going to be, seeing something that's stunning. But there are tons of teams that are playing in this World Cup that are fun and exciting, and it just seems like they're kind of missing that. I mean, you have the whole storyline with Messi in his final tournament looking to win a World Cup. The Brazil team, that may be the best Brazil team that we've seen. I think maybe even better than the 2002 team that won.
Oh, wow.
Just from a talent depth standpoint. And they actually have a goalkeeper this time, which they have two goalkeepers, which is more than the entire of their history. So I think that there are storylines here. I mean, we've been talking about, if you listen to podcasts, you've been talking about it, right? Like Total Soccer Show's done a great job of breaking down everything. Athletic, Soccer Daily, all these podcasts have done a great job of talking about it. But from a mainstream media thing, no, it definitely hasn't been as salient, and it hasn't really been as there hasn't been as much hype from the fans. But Twitter has been more fun this week now that we are able to focus on the World Cup.
Jarrett, what about in your orbit?
It's funny because I got a message from a friend of mine yesterday who is who and he and I keep up with he keeps up with Atlanta United. He keeps up with the national team. Like that's like when they play in serious stuff. But he sent out an invitation to a bunch of us. He's like, hey, you guys can come over Monday if you want to, and we can watch it at my house. Watch the Wales game. Like it's 2:00. I got work. I mean, I got meetings I got to deal with. If I can get out of them, I absolutely will. But it's like I think it kind of hit a bunch of friends of mine who are more casual about it. Of like, damn, the World Cup's about to start. What do we do? What do we do? We get together, I guess. So it's just kind of like everyone knows it was coming, but much like a MARTA train, you know it's coming. You just don't react until it's actually pulling into the station.
I think that's it's weird because it's also during a holiday week, right, when it starts, right? So like for me, I definitely saved up my PTO for like to take off the Monday, but what if you have holidays coming up, you have family that you have to see, you've already allocated pay time off this week for family and then for the Christmas season. So, I'm sure productivity will decrease a lot because I'm sure many people will be watching, a TV behind them while working. But yeah, I'm with you, Jared. It's
behind their spreadsheet.
Yeah, like we do with March Madness. But it's just it does feel like it does feel like it snuck up on us a little bit.
So
it's just weird.
I know. So Bart, when it comes to this is a double-edged question for both of you when it comes to the men's national team. What are you least concerned about when it comes to the U.S. men's national team? What are you the most concerned about when it comes to the U.S. men's national team heading into this tournament?
Ooh. I get it wouldn't be a U.S. national team if I wasn't completely chill with my goalkeeper situation. Like it's the U.S. national team. What am I not worried about? Goalkeeper. Like that'll be fine. I think I'm not that worried about that part of it. As far as the rest of it goes, like, hey, who wants to score the goals for this team? How do you balance out who's going to play in the midfield and when? Does Greg get it right? Does he get his subs right? I know Jason, for instance, was always fond of saying that Jurgen Klinsmann was the master of the sixth sub. Like, give him that sixth sub and he'll unlock the game for you every time. Yeah. Unfortunately, like you don't get six subs in. You don't get
we
six
do get
subs.
five.
We do get five.
He
only got three when he was managing the national team.
Yeah, until you get to the extra 30. Yeah.
Yeah, he was only getting. He was only getting three back in his day when he was running the U.S. national team. But I guess one of my big concerns is does Greg get the balance? Does he get the lineups right? Does he get the balance right in the midfield? And who scores goals? What are your thoughts, Bart?
I agree with you 100% on goalkeeping. I think that's the only place where I feel super confident because Matt Turner has proven to be a very good shot stopper, not just in MLS, but even comparatively across the world. So that to me is a plus. I am concerned about just about every other position. I'm not concerned about our winger position, right? Like I'm not concerned about our winger position, right? I'm very confident in the guys that will play winger, be it Pulisic and Weah or Aronson and Reyna, whoever's playing winger, I'm not concerned about. My concern is, are they going to be scoring goals? Who are they going to be serving the ball to? Because if it's Jesus Ferreira, who sure had a great season in MLS, but has proven time and time again to be unreliable when it comes to finishing. And that does give me some concern. I think the midfield to an extent writes itself. I think you have the default McKennie, Musa, Adams midfield. I personally think that Greg should consider running a Adams, Musa, Aronson, an AMA midfield.
Right.
So that's or Reyna. I think a lot of people have considered that, and it's possible that may have to happen against Wales because of McKennie's fitness. We're not quite sure how 100% he is, but it's I think, Jarrett, you're dead on of like who's going to score because we don't know. We haven't seen Josh Sargent score a goal for the national team in a very long time. Jesus Ferreira, like I said, is inconsistent at best when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net. And this team struggled throughout qualifying to create good chances for their strikers and for their strikers to finish them. Just hands down, it didn't matter what striker. We struggled to create chances and finish them. You have to do that in the World Cup because Wales is going to need 2 chances maybe to score, but they're going to give up a lot more by the way that they play.
There are people in Philadelphia who are not ready to be scarred by Gareth Bale twice in a matter of a month.
If I cared about the feelings of Philadelphia, I would be more concerned about that.
Sorry, Rich.
That's also true.
They don't care about our feelings, so why should we care about their feelings?
Oh, Santa Claus, poor Santa, still getting snowballed. And I guess one of my questions is, to your point about the midfield, like it feels like it should be set. I'm curious if Greg decides to get galaxy brain about any of it. You know what I mean? Like if he decides like, we've got to match up with Wales. What if? And he's sitting over there like the meme of standing there with the board and the yarn. And he's like, what if we did this? And they never saw it coming. And we unlocked basically the secrets of the universe in the midfield.
And open up King Tut's tomb and got all the secrets and all that kind of stuff, forgetting that King Tut's tomb is cursed.
Right. No, we don't need to be digging up any Egyptian grave. Don't dig up a single grave in Qatar. Don't dig up a single grave here in the United States or in Egypt. We've seen those movies. They don't end well.
No, they don't.
No, Jared, I think, like I said, I think the McKennie, Musa, Adams midfield is your default. And I think Greg does like continuity, which is why he's going to see that. I think that the twist would be Aronson, Adams, Musa, and we saw that in the summer. We also saw Aronson play a little bit in the midfield during qualifying. He tried it like twice. So I think that's the other option. I don't think Greg's going to get too complicated in that regard, but I know we have a question coming up about some place that we could definitely talk about the concerns we have.
Yes, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, John.
All right. Yep. Bart Keeler, SoccerforUS, POD at Bartimus Prime 19 on the Twitters. Joe Bost asking, welcome back, Joe Bost. Joe Bost wants to know, are y'all happy with the back line?
I'm never happy.
Bart's thinking
no, and I like, no, I'm not happy with the back line. It's not Berhalter's fault, though, that 2 of the 3 best center backs are hurt. Like, we have to understand that. I can talk about how much I don't think Aaron Long is an international caliber starting center back anymore. But I also have to understand that Chris Richards and Miles Robinson aren't here because they're hurt. Chris Richards can't get over an injury. Miles Robinson had a horrific injury that took him out. Like, if those 2 were healthy, I would feel so much better about this back line because Walker Zimmerman is a great steadying presence, reliable. You know what you're going to get from him. Sergiño Dest, though I think as a defender is still suspect, is a great asset on that right back position. So is Anthony Robinson at left back. But like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like the England back line is super. I'm like, you can't be confident in the England back line when you have Harry Maguire playing. Like, it's just one of those things where every team is going to have deficiencies because you're not buying players to fill those deficiencies. You have to play with what you have. So the back line as a whole, no, I'm not super confident, but 3 out of the 4 positions I feel fine with.
Jarrett?
Yeah, and so this is the thing that has really aggravated me, and Bart's touching on it a little bit. This is the thing that's really aggravated me about the discourse of the lead up to the World Cup, where we have this super pessimistic discourse of, well, everything is bad for the U.S. and it's going to stay bad. Okay, what about England? Well, England will figure it out. It's this idea of like, yeah, everything is bad, but we're just going to pretend like, oh, it's bad for us. It's bad for everybody. Well, everybody else will figure it out, but we're incapable of figuring it out. Like, it's this doom and gloom. Like, you're the only one incapable of, making something work with, baling wire and some bubble gum, as if England hasn't been a mess, as if Wales isn't basically like, Wales isn't sitting there like the armies of Rohan hanging out in Helm's Deep, just waiting for the Rohirrim to come over the hill in the form of Gareth Bale. Like they're just going to hold up. They're going to try and outlast the siege, and then they're just going to try and get that moment. Like, you're not the only one with problems, and you're not the only one with this mindset of, man, we got problems, and we're really worried that we're the only ones who aren't going to be able to figure it out.
And that's exactly where I'm at. Is like other teams are going to have issues too. You know, Iran. I mean, let's be real honest, and I support them, but like Iran may not have 20 guys to go to this World Cup. The way that their federation and country is treating them for having the audacity to say that women should be able to express an opinion. But, you know, it's been, I mean, look, I think Wales is a very good team, but we can all agree that Wales has been overachieving with this group for the past decade almost, right? I remember
I was about to say
2016 Euro when they first kind of, you know, it's been a while that it's like, okay, how far can pluck, grit, and Gareth Bale take you? Because even Aaron Ramsey has declined. You know, Kiefer Moore is in good form, but like, you know, it's the talent level of the United States is high. Like this team has a lot of talent on it, despite having Christian Roldan on this roster. There are still really talented players up and down the squad, and
there's the life expectancy of this fan base dropped like 0.5 when they saw Christian Roldan on the roster.
Some of us accept the inevitable, but we're still going to
important in life. Oh no, yeah. I don't blame you for that. But the second he was on the roster, I saw that. I thought, oh man, there's like half this fan
Roldan being on the roster is inevitable, just like Gonzalo Pineda starting Mateus Rossetto, even though he's shown no ability to actually make the offense work at an efficient level.
Oh my God, it was just, I saw it and I was like, yep, everyone's gonna be mad.
Yep,
this is fun.
So Bam in Australia with the question about it. USA versus Wales at 6 a.m. his time. Is it worth waking up to see LAFC versus LAFC?
Depends how much you care about the U.S. national team.
Yeah, Bam's in
Australia.
Bam's in Australia. Bam watches.
Oh, in Australia. Sorry.
Yeah, Bam watches us. Bam watches us from Australia, and so
I mean, if you wake up at 6 a.m., watch it. If you don't, you can probably catch it on tape delay somewhere.
There you go, and replay on your home network. Okay, yeah. Sean Vergara with a question. Considering the injuries and state of the union of the team, what is success?
Making it out of the group. I think that's a success for any U.S. national team. Sorry, that's like if you don't make it out of the group,
that's your baseline.
Anything beyond that is great. Depends on who your matchup is. Right now, I have in my predictions that we would probably match up against Netherlands. I don't think we're better than them. That's fine. You lose. Okay. You know, Frank de Boer is not coaching that team, so you can be rest a little bit easier, even though I still maintain Frank de Boer is not a terrible coach, but that is not the conversation for today.
Hey, those Dutch teams with him were not as bad as I think people wanted to believe, in the same sense that, like, there's parts of what Tata Martino is doing in Mexico that has more to do with players not being able to actually score a damn goal from 3 feet away than Tata Martino being a bad manager.
Yes.
It's not apples to apples, but it's also not so clean cut that, oh, it's completely the manager's fault. Well, you also have to have guys who can actually score a goal.
Yeah.
So, Bart, you've done predictions of the group. Let me ask you this. I know that you have your starting 11, and I'll put that in quotation marks. You have your A group starting 11 in your brain for group stage. Let me ask you this. Give me someone who is not in your A+ starting 11 for the U.S. men's national team that you feel could be a key contributor that could get them out of the group stage. Who would?
So we're talking about our preferred starting 11 and who outside of that? Gio Reyna, because Gio Reyna is not my starting 11. That's my hot take. I still think Tim Weah is our best winger in this system.
Yeah.
So Gio Reyna. I think the next one would be Brendan Aronson, because I also don't know if he's your default starter. I said that I would start him if McKinney can't go, but those are your two guys, right? Like outside of those two, there's not a player on this team that has that ability to completely change a game when they come on. You know, I'm trying to think. I don't think that we have, like, I like Jordan Morris. I don't think he's that guy anymore. I don't know if Sargent is a complete game changer. I don't think Wright is a complete game changer if they're not starting over Ferreira, which whatever.
Right.
But there's no one else that's like, oh yeah, this guy's going to change it for us. Whoever doesn't start between Weah, Aronson, and Reyna, that's your game changer.
I love that shout. Just because I've seen a lot of people talk about it as well on social media in the last day or so of Tim Weah, especially of like who's somebody
Tim
who
Weah's been doing it consistently as a professional for a long time. Like we forget
dude,
how long he's been a pro.
Yes. Tim Weah has got some big like Greg Paulus energy at Duke where like, oh, he's a junior. Are you kidding me? He's been there since 2003.
Yeah.
He somehow played with Christian Laettner, J.J. Redick, and Zion Williamson.
It's the Freddie Waygan, Joey Jones plan for those in SEC football.
Yeah.
It feels like Tim Weah has been doing this forever. He really has been doing it for a while and been doing it at high levels. But I do like your shout, and I like other people have shouted as well. Hey, put Tim, especially if he doesn't start, bring Tim Weah on to the 65th minute and just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, I know a lot of people don't have Tim Weah starting. I still think he is the best actual winger because I think the other wingers are like the new modern types of wingers. Not that Weah isn't that, but he's definitely a little bit more of a vertical threat. Maybe you don't play him against Wales or Iran because the vertical threat isn't going to quite be there. I still think it will be a little bit against Wales. They're not going to like just sit back. But I think Tim Weah has the ability to take this team to great heights. And we saw this throughout qualifying. Most of our best attacking sequences came because Tim Weah was on the right side. We don't beat Costa Rica at home if Paul Arriola doesn't get hurt and Tim Weah has to start. Which again is the question, yeah. Which again, Jared, is your question of like, will he get the lineups right? Because he still thought for up until October of 2021 that Paul Arriola somehow provided something better than Tim Weah.
So, was there someone that you still wish were there in Qatar that is not? That really should, that in your mind should be a part of this roster that is missing? And I know that you're not a fan of Christian Roldan. I imagine he would be the individual that you would pull off because to put someone in, we got to pull someone out.
I'm still happy to give Miles Robinson my Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, who is physically capable of being there, Jarrett? Is there someone that should have been there as we're getting closer and closer and closer? Because I know we looked at analyzed what happened.
I mean, look, the easy answer is John Brooks. I think you could have still brought 5 center backs and dropped Roldan and Morris. But I think other than that,
well, Bernard Donstar is saying Pepe.
Right. So outside of that, Pepe is probably the best answer. But I think you could have also brought 4 strikers, dropped Morris, and then you have Sargent as a winger option as well. So I do think that Pepe would have been a good shout to bring. I'm not like, I am sad Ricardo Pepi is not going to be there. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ricardo Pepi is the guy who we need to like get out of the group stage. If we don't get out of the group stage with the guys that we have at striker, then that's a problem. But I do think Pepi, it's more of a surprise he's not there than like a shock. I would have preferred Malik Tillman over Christian Roldan, because at least if Malik Tillman comes in the game, I have some hope that he'll do something. But Pepe is the only realistic option that would make sense. John Brooks is the one that I would be most comfortable with coming in. But even then, they both have their pros and cons, and we've seen their cons more frequently than we have their pros for the U.S. men's national team.
Tillman's an interesting one for me because he's watching him in Scotland. When I watch him, like there's parts of him where like he's still learning how to like handle the moments.
Absolutely.
And when he figures it out, he's going to be an absolute problem. And I wonder if the fact that he's still trying to figure out parts of that is one of the reasons why Greg didn't bring him.
Well, and I would
versus bringing a guy like Roldan.
I would posit the same thing about a Brandon Vasquez, Jarrett, where, Brandon Vasquez is a hot hand, but he doesn't have the international experience. And I'm thinking that might be two in the same basket there with a Malik Tillman and a Brandon Vasquez that a lot of folks were gravitating toward to be a part of this roster. But like I said, that's just me looking at this. Bart, when it comes to broadcast plans and your availabilities, what is Soccer4US doing on a daily / weekly basis?
So we're gonna hope to get out.
Are you hiding in the office?
I'm gonna hope to get out an episode before the World Cup starts, or at least before our first game, of just like the kind of what we talked about here. What do we think the expectations are? What are realistic expectations? What are those things? Who do we think is going to outperform our expectations from an individual standpoint? Okay. We'll hopefully have that out before, but I am very busy trying to organize a bunch of watch parties. But we'll hopefully have recaps of each game after each game. So hopefully the next day we'll be able to get together and talk about it. The problem is we're probably all going to be wanting to watch the World Cup.
Well, but that's why I've basically said because we got 8, 11, and 2.
Yeah,
is basically how this goes. So the second halves of games, the second half of either game 2 or game 1 of the day, that's when we're dropping in, and obviously we'll be out by 11 a.m. And so our format, and I'll go back over this again tomorrow, is to come on as normal, but once again, just to open the floodgates to all of our media folks that just want to come in, say hi, visit, crash the party, and go, this is great, this is awful. Hey, see where I am, see what I'm doing, to just kind of open things wide open. So obviously, you'll be getting an email every day of the show link to sit there and come in and crash and do whatever you want, regardless if you're at a watch party or not. Yes.
Perfect. Love that.
So David says, thanks for the feedback on the jerseys for the kids last week. I tried, but what in the blank expletive deleted, I guess, is wrong with U.S. Soccer that the only players they have jerseys to order are Weah, Reyna, Pulisic, Aronson, and Pepe. They state in the site, merch goes to support U.S. Soccer. Print every darn player in the red, blue, white shirt jerseys for $40 and sell David, I had the same problem too, because that's a default for me when I'm texting. Sell the hell out of them. Are they trying to fail?
Well, I think $40 for a jersey is a very steep cut when U.S. Soccer. It's not like I don't think they're just given these jerseys by Nike. Let's be real frank about that. So the jersey itself probably costs more than $40 to make from Nike. But yeah, they don't get me wrong. They and MLS love to charge a lot of money for a jersey that's not fantastic. There are other sites out there. And no, your money doesn't go to U.S. Soccer, but U.S. Soccer will get over it. Believe me, I've given them enough money, and they did not reward me with tickets to the U.S. Women's games at the FIFA Women's World Cup next summer. So
we're working.
There are better ways to spend your money on U.S. Soccer. Let's just put it that way. World Soccer Shop has customization, which you could do. U90 Soccer is another one. Soccer.com for those of us kids who grew up in the 90s with the Eurosport catalog coming in. There are other sites that you can go to for either customization or finding the jerseys themselves.
And I've been going to Olive in York. I was one of the fortunate ones that got the Constitution Olive in York. It's like the second I saw it, I'm like, I'll get it in a size that's entirely too large. And then that way I know that I can get it. And if it just happens that with my laundry skills that suck, it shrinks, I still have some room for error. So
I'm glad you do your own laundry.
Okay. Well, I have become, all right. So when I was a single man, not married, not in a relationship, when you're single, you always wait until the laundry baskets are full before you go and you do laundry.
Yes.
So I had 3 laundry baskets. And when those were full, then for me, it was time to go do laundry. Now that I am a married person and have, not just my clothes, but the boss's clothes as well, I am so anal retentive. I've completely gone 180 degrees. Literally, when one basket is full, I'm throwing stuff into the washer. And I do laundry more than the average bear. I mean, my laundry, it's just the laundry availability. Oh, there's a washer. Let's go do something. Literally, that is how my life has changed since I've been married. I have gone 180 degrees when it comes to doing laundry. And the fact that I do both of our laundry, you know, the boss is like, you know, you're an amazing human being for doing this, and I'm like, wow, okay. I just try not to screw it up more than anything else. Last question before you go. What worries you the most about Wales?
That they are very good at scoring goals when they shouldn't score goals. So they're the type of team that they can absorb that pressure, find ways to not concede, and then because they have a couple of guys who are really good, can find a way to put the ball in the back of the net, either be it on a counterattack or on a set piece or anything of that nature where it's just against the run of play, and they're very good at that. You know, they do not strike me as a team that I'm concerned with, you know, pinning us back or anything.
Right.
I think we'll have a lot of possession. But we've seen the U.S. struggle to break down teams that are more than happy to give them possession and kind of sit in a lower block and defend. I don't think Wales is going to sit in a low block, but I think we'll see some sort of mid to low block of setting a line of confrontation around midfield and then saying, I dare you to break us down.
Put the battery on the shoulder. Okay, so the folks in Qatar, fully cognizant of the NFL schedule, have their Sunday match, Qatar and Ecuador, at 11 a.m.
Yes.
So that's very, very smart on their part. And then we have the triple header, England, Iran, Senegal, Netherlands, USA, and Wales is at 2 o'clock on Monday. So since I don't see you until next week, obviously golden ticket status starts on Monday. And like I said, you'll have your stuff during the World Cup. I'm turning this into basically a party line with all of our media experts. You'll get a link in the morning, crash when you want, stay for as long as you want. We'll have fun. We'll talk about what's going on with the second half of the game that's going on and all that kind of stuff. One more time for all the plugs of all the stuff that's going on that you know. Hit me.
Yeah. So first thing I'll plug is the American Outlaws parties here in Atlanta. We have USA versus Wales at Fido on Monday at 2 p.m. Then we'll have a big old watch party at Wild Heaven West End for the USA-England game on Black Friday. That game starts at 2, but we'll be there from 12 till 5. So come on out. We'll have some fun activities planned and other things going on during that watch party. And then Tuesday the 29th, USA-Iran, we're back at Fido. That's Fido Midtown, not Buckhead, Fido Midtown, the one on Peachtree Street, about a 7-minute walk from the Midtown MARTA station. So much easier to get to than the Buckhead location. I will just say that. And they validate parking for 2 hours. So there's that. So that's our watch party schedule. You can follow me at Barnabas Prime 19, or you can follow my show at Soccer for Us Pod. I'm putting this out there right now. I have chosen Brazil to win. Literally, I put money on them when I was in Vegas earlier this year. I said I'm putting money on Brazil to win. Okay. So, you know, I think that I think that's a safe bet. I do think we might see one, if not two, South American teams in the final. I don't know if I trust any of the, like, I have France in the final. And I don't believe that at all, because I keep telling myself this is the World Cup, they implode. But I also look at France and go, they're really still very good and have some really good teams. And I don't know of another European-based team that makes me feel like they'll get the job done, because I don't trust Belgium.
Right.
So still, I'm sticking with Brazil as my winner.
Okay, so for me, I'm Argentina. I want Messi to go out on top.
I wouldn't hate that. Like, I think in my heart, I'll be rooting for Messi and Argentina, right? We know that Jason will be rooting for Messi and Argentina. Mm-hmm. I think Brazil is a better team. Like I said, I think this is a really good Brazil team. They've got a lot of depth. They've got good players all over the pitch. And my joke is that they have a goalkeeper now, but like that's always been the issue for Brazil. Is they have a goalkeeper who just kind of is there.
Yeah.
Alisson and Ederson, it's probably Alisson starting, but like between the two of them, they're fantastic. But yeah. Hey guys, yeah, again, I like it. We're talking about it in the chat. Wild Heaven Friday, USA England. We'll have the whole garden room open, plus the rest of the complex open to us as well. So
yes.
Hope to see y'all there.
Yes. So, Bart, we will see you here on the show when we see you, and try to keep you away from your actual job as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. Like I said, I already took off work on Monday. So.
Well, I ain't talking just about Monday, brother. I'm talking about that next 30 days.
I know. They're going to be mad at me. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be good.
All right, Bart, be good. We'll see you later.